All right. So, welcome to Math 330. This video is all just kind of the first day of class, going through the syllabus and making sure that you understand all the important pieces of information. Um, so, first, just kind of the top of the syllabus, we have all the important pieces of information here, the class time, my office hours. I will be holding essentially regular office hours. It's just they will be through Zoom. So in Canvas, there is a link right at the top of the home page that says office hours, and that's how you're going to get to my office hours. Email is also the best way of contacting me. And if you can't make my office hours, then try and set up a time via email to talk to me. Um, Here's my office, but really you're not allowed to come see me in my office, so that doesn't really matter so much. All right. We have a textbook in this class. It's really just a set of notes. And so it's free, it's a PDF. I highly suggest that you print it out just so that you have something to write on and scratch your notes down on. But of course, you can just leave it digital. Certainly, if you have an iPad that you can write on, then leaving it digital is perfectly okay. All right, and so what I want to do next is really talk about what this course is going to be about. And before I move on, I really, well, you have to read through this syllabus. One of your first assignments is going to be to read through this syllabus, top to bottom, um, so that you can see some of the details that I'm not going to be going over here in this video. So, what are we doing in this course? This course is all about proof. And in fact, all of mathematics is really about proof. All of mathematics is really about coming up with new theorems, experimenting, conjecturing, coming up with new ideas, which we just simply call theorems or corollaries or lemmas, and then proving that those ideas are beyond a shadow of a doubt absolutely true. And so we're going to learn how to prove mathematical ideas in this class. And so in this class, there's kind of going to be two pillars that we're going to focus on. And the first one is producing these proofs. So really coming up with the idea of, okay, hey, why is this theorem actually true? And so the basics of how we do that is really by taking previous ideas that we have, right? Either definitions, like the definition of an even number and an odd number, or previous theorems, combining them with the tools that we have, things like arithmetic and algebra and calculus, and basic logic, to come up with a brand new idea. All right, so one of the first ones we're going to play with is that the sum of two even numbers is even. All right, so we have the definition of even, we have the basics of arithmetic or algebra, and we're going to end up combining those two things to show that the sum of two even numbers is an even number. All right, and we're going to have that new idea. So this is what we're going to learn is, okay, how do you produce this proof? How do you take those old ideas and combine them to get a brand new idea? This is very different from what we have done in the past, mostly because this requires creativity and experimentation. There's not a formula, there's not one straight path in which to combine those old ideas. And so it's really going to involve a lot of experimentation, a lot of possibly going down incorrect paths, hitting a brick wall, and figuring out how far you have to back up from. And not a lot of your math classes so far have involved creativity, but you are definitely going to have to really kind of play around and come up with your own proof for some of these. And for a lot of these, there is more than one correct proof. There have been many problems that I've seen where I've seen multiple different proofs, all of which are perfectly correct and show that the new idea is in fact true, but they're qualitatively different from each other. And that's what makes proof writing so interesting. Okay, the second pillar we're going to talk about is how to write a proof. Because once you have produced a proof, while the idea is there and the proof exists, it could look like scratch work on your piece of paper or really just an idea that's floating around in your head. And while you might fully understand why this theorem is true and how to prove it, really that's only so useful until you can explain it to other people. And so our second pillar is writing. How do you express the ideas that you have in your head in a cohesive and useful way so that other people can also understand what you now have come up with? And so, just like there are rules of writing and norms and etiquette for writing in English and history, there are rules and norms and etiquette for writing up mathematics. And we are going to talk all about what those rules and norms are. What is the best way of describing your ideas, describing the mathematics, describing the logic that you have come up with that best gets across the proof that you are trying to describe and really trying to teach to other people. So those are kind of our two pillars. We're going to figure out how to produce proofs, how to come up with the idea of why a statement is true, and then how do we write it down in a way that other people can learn from the creative action that we have done in producing this proof. All right, so given what I just said about what this course is going to be about, how is it going to be run? Well, before I get into that, I want to say that given what I just said about what this course is going to be about, and the fact that it is very different from what you have learned before, and it really involves an act of creation, you should expect to be frustrated. You should expect to uh, be really confused often, and you should expect to fail a lot. Because this is really the best way to end up at understanding. Any act of creation really involves experimentation, and any experimentation, almost by definition, involves failure. So I want you to be in that mindset already, that you should expect to be confused. You should expect to get frustrated. And that's a good thing. That if you are confused and frustrated, then you should know that you are on the right track. And then what we're going to learn throughout the class is how to move past that, how to get on to understanding of the material. Okay, so how are we going to do this? We're going to use a learning methodology called inquiry-based learning, or IBL for short. And inquiry-based learning, there's a lot of research out there, but the gist of it is that it is a student-centered method of teaching that engages students in certain activities that me as the instructor have put together to help you make sense of the material that we're going to be talking about. In this case, to help you learn how to produce proofs and how to write them up. And so the idea behind this is simply that you, the students, are going to be kind of taking charge of the class. And so we'll talk about what this means in specifics in a sec. But in general, what it means is that I'm not going to be talking very much. I'm not going to be lecturing very much. The majority of class time is going to be spent with you as the students talking. Either you as the students presenting your proposed solution to problems, your proposed proofs, or you as the students commenting on other people's proposed proofs or proposed solutions, asking questions about it, trying to figure out why they came up with that solution. Collaborative work is also a key component in IBL. It's not just one person trying to present their solution and then we move on. It's trying to figure out as a class how do we create these proofs? How do we produce this mathematics? How do we write it up in a correct way? And so it is doing this collaboratively as a class that really makes this methodology of teaching work. My role as the instructor is simply to try and facilitate this collaborative work and facilitate this student-centered work on the activities to help all of us get to a level of better understanding. And the idea behind all of this IBL is simply that it is not until you do something that you truly understand it. When you hear about something, you kind of get it. And when I teach you something, you get it a little bit more, but it's really not until you do something that you fully understand it. In other classes, that was homework. You know, you learned about it in class, but I bet if I gave you a test immediately, you would not pass it. It's not until you do the homework and really get some practice with it that you fully understand it. With proofs, it's even more so that way because you are literally creating something. And so we're just skipping the whole lecture bit and you are going straight into doing it. And so, once again, you should expect to be confused and you should expect not to be able to create the best proofs right off the bat. And so, as a class, we are going to be very welcoming and we are going to build each other's confidence up. And we are going to create an environment in this class where everyone feels willing to present maybe not perfect proofs, to fail, even in front of the entire class. Because failure is, once again, how we go to better understanding. And so, as a class, if someone fails, we're going to take that as an opportunity for us all to learn, okay, how do we actually do this? How can we build this failure into better understanding? All right, so now let's talk about, okay, specifically, what is this class going to look like? All right, so what is an actual day or week going to look like in this class? So first thing's going to happen is you are going to figure out what your homework is for the next class period. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to go to Canvas. And here in the technology module, we see a bunch of how-tos. And this one right here is a nice one of how to find your daily homework and how to sign up to present. There's a nice intro assignment that you're going to have to complete. But essentially what's going to happen is you are going to look at this daily homework Google Sheet. And in this daily homework, you're going to see either maybe some exercises that you're going to have to complete. These are more computational problems, but definitely some theorems that you're going to have to prove. Everyone is going to have to write down a solution to these theorems. This is what's called your daily homework. And turn them in, you're going to write them down, scan them, turn them in via Canvas. However, in addition, there's going to be, okay, so there's 3 problems here. Then I will assign 3 different people to present these 3 problems. And you're going to have to go in and sign up as to which problem you want to present. So the way you figure out, okay, have I presented, or am I going to present on this day or not, is you click on the presenter drop-down box. And you see, okay, hey, I am one of the 3 options, so I need to choose which one of these problems I want to present. And this is a first come, first served basis. So let's say that Carly wants to do 2.4, so she clicks on that. All right, so the other 2 then have to choose which one they want to do. All right, so please don't change anyone else's. All right, so Jordan wants to do 2.5, and Matthew wants to do 2.3, okay? So the presenter would then go in and say, okay, these are the proofs that I want to present in class on the 26th. All right, then after that, you are going to go in and you'll work on the proof, you'll type it up in LaTeX, and then 24 hours before the proof starts, you will go to Perusal. And Perusal is a nice website that allows you to upload your proof and allows everyone else to comment on the proof, to ask questions, to say, I'm not sure if I understand this. How can this work? Or I don't think this one is correct. I think there's an error there. And every time that you highlight a piece of the proof, it starts a discussion thread. And so you really get sort of a discussion board type thing happening here. Okay? So 24 hours before you present your proof, so noon the day before, you need to upload your proof here, and everyone else has an opportunity to comment on it. There's a tutorial on how to use Perusal here under the technology module, so make sure that you take a look at that. All right, so that's the before class stuff. What happens during class? Well, during class, so one more thing from before class. There are going to be some video lectures, all right? I'm going to be doing lectures. I'm going to record them and then post them onto YouTube. They'll be on Canvas as well. So there are very few lectures during this class, but you'll have to look at those lectures before class. Then during class, I might talk a little bit about the lectures if there was one, but most of the time we are going to start class with a presentation. All right, someone is going to share their screen. All right, they'll have their proof up on the screen. They will present their proof, and then everyone else is going to comment on it. They're going to ask questions. They're going to talk about it. They're going to say, okay, how did you figure this out? What made you think to do that? And we are going to collaboratively kind of figure out how this proof was produced and how it was written up. And we're all going to have a better understanding at the end of this collaborative process. And then we repeat. Someone else presents their proof by sharing their screen. Another set of comments and questions. And we keep doing that until we're finished with all the proofs or until we run out of class time, whichever one comes first. We might spend some class periods doing exercises. These are the more computational problems. And so different classes are going to look different. But in general, most classes are going to look like presentation, class collaboration. Presentation, class collaboration. That's going to be the majority of most of the classes this semester. All right, the last thing that I want to talk about are really your grades. How are you going to be assessed on all of this? And the first thing is your daily homework. So like I said, I'm going to assign proofs and exercises that you have to do every single day. Everyone has to attempt those exercises. And your daily homework is going to be graded on a check-based system. So essentially, if you have shown me that you have given some sort of a good faith effort on these problems, you will get credit for it. It doesn't matter if you are correct necessarily, but I do have to see that you have tried to do something to come up with a solution for these problems. If absolutely nothing comes up, then I need to see questions and what did you try and why do you think you were unable to get anywhere? I need to see something for every single problem in order to get the check mark. Those will be scanned and sent up through Canvas for each class day. All right, so your daily homework is part of it. Your presentations are another part, okay? And you need to read carefully this presentation portion of the syllabus. In particularly, look at the rubric. One of the things you'll notice is that the rubric is slanted in the higher grade direction. 4 points is not 80%, but it's 90%. 3 points isn't 60%, but it's 80%. I do this for a very specific reason. I want you to feel comfortable presenting an incorrect proof. If you do not feel 100% confident that your proof is perfectly right, that's fine. In fact, that's great. Those are some of the best ways in which the entire class can learn together. So I want you to present that proof, and I want you to present that proof with confidence and with joy. I want you to be really happy presenting a proof that's not 100% perfect. I really don't want you to fear for your grade. So I weight your grade in a more positive A direction because of that, okay? This is an SI class, so some of your presentations will be given feedback both by me and by your peers, and that'll give you the SI portion of this class. Another portion of your grade is contributions. This is the audience portion. To get a good contribution grade, you have to do a couple of things. First, you have to participate in class 4 times per week. All right, participation, there's a lot of ways you can do that. One of them is to comment on perusal. Make a comment, be part of a conversation on these pre-posts of the proofs. Another is to talk in class, ask a question, make a comment, contribute to the class collaborative discussion and with the class learning. We'll be working some exercises in class. You can work an exercise in class or answer a question that I ask. All of these are ways, but you have to contribute to the class learning 4 times per week. This is critical to the way that this learning system works. The second thing you have to do is write a reflection journal. This is a very short thing. It's got 2 parts. The first is just self-reporting all the ways that you contributed during the week. And the second is just a short reflection on what you learned. I have a few prompts that you can use, but really I just want you to look at the past week and say, okay, hey, what did I learn? What questions do I still have? What did I do that was great? What did I do that was terrible? I just want you to think about that at the end of each week. All right, two more things are part of your grade. One is a writing assignment. Writing assignments are opportunities for you to take a proof and make it just completely polished. These are really focusing on the writing aspect of proof. Some of these are going to be proofs that we've already done in class. So the proof has already been produced and we've already talked about it as a class. And so really all I'm testing is, can you polish that proof down to within an inch of its life and make it absolutely perfect? Each of these writing assignments, there'll be about one a week or so, of 2 or 3 proofs per writing assignment, okay? This is a WI course because this is mathematical writing. And so we'll be doing some drafts for some of these writing assignments. You'll be doing some peer reviewing for some of the others, okay? Finally, we'll have some exams. We'll have 2 take-home exams in the middle of the semester and 1 take-home exam for the final, okay? And these will be mostly proofs of theorems that you have not seen before, okay? So you have your grade distributions here, what I consider an A, a B, a C, some of the miscellaneous stuff, midterm grades, special accommodations. Honor code is taken very seriously in this class. All right, so once again, you have to read through this syllabus, and I have glossed over many things. You need to go through these much more carefully.